Hello everybody, it's Pim Coop, and as of making this video right now, we are currently on day 37 of the government shutdown. Now, the reason that the government is shut down is over healthcare. Now, before I get into my video, I'm perplexed, dumbfounded, and mind blown on how many people don't know this, but in order to get the federal government to reopen and end this shutdown, based on the filibuster rule, you need a minimum of 60 senators to agree to a CR or a continuing resolution, whereas other bills that you would normally see going through the House only needs a majority, 50 or more senators. Now, the Republicans have 53 Senate majority, so they need minimally 7 Democrats to cross party lines and agree with their continuing resolution to reopen the government. Now, Donald Trump recently has been screaming, and other Republicans have talked about using the nuclear option, which is a way to change the filibuster rule to make it not need 60 senators, but to make it a simple majority, so the Republicans would not need Democrats' votes in order to reopen the federal government and pass a continuing resolution. Now, if they do decide to do that, and in the future the Republicans lose the midterm election in 2026 and don't have the majority, then future continuing resolution discussions would not need Republican input because they wouldn't have the majority, and because they changed the filibuster rule with the nuclear option, they wouldn't need a vote from the Republicans to pass it, the Democrats, in the future. So it is an option. It is something that has been screamed about, talked about, and pushed by Donald Trump, but we'll have to wait and see what Senate Democrats and Republicans do in the future. Now, Republicans claim that they have a clean continuing resolutions that is all just basic stuff needed to reopen the federal government, and the Democrats in the Senate are refusing to approve it after it passed the House because of Chuck Schumer. The Chuck Schumer is telling Senate Democrats that if you don't have Republicans agree to every and all demands that we have, there is no resolution that Republicans can give us that we're going to approve. Also, Republicans claim that there's Democrats who are preaching that they're happy that this shutdown is going on because it gives them leverage that they haven't had in quite some time, and that they understand that they could be affecting people's lives or hurting people in many different ways, but this is an opportunity that they haven't had in quite some time, and they have to seize this moment that they might not have again. So some Republicans said that they've heard Democrats happy about this shutdown. Also, Republicans claim that one of the demands that Democrats have is they want to fund illegals. And Republicans have come out many times saying in the Big Beautiful Bill, or the BBB for short, that they are not supporting illegals that they put in that bill. And when they talked in news conferences, press conferences, journalists, or when they talked about illegals getting health care, they said that they do not approve illegals getting health care because they put the burden on the American people to fund them. They shutter hospitals, and it makes the system more expensive. So we will not approve illegals getting health care. Now, Democrats on the other side are saying that Republicans are being ran by Donald Trump, that Donald Trump is telling them, don't come to Washington, don't negotiate with us, don't have discussion with us, don't even show up to do your job, when we as Democrats are here trying to have discussions, trying to talk, trying to work out our differences, and Donald Trump is not willing to do that. And we even asked Donald Trump to end this charade, come back to Washington and negotiate and talk with us, and we're waiting to see what he says. Also, Democrats are claiming that the demand that they're talking about, that we want to see passed, that they claim is about illegals getting health care, is false. And because they are pushing that agenda or that lie, they're willing to allow millions of Americans to lose their health care. Also, the ACA, or the Affordable Care Act, subsidies expire at the end of the year, and we don't want to see them expire, which would then cause health care and premiums to go up, and we want these to extend and not expire, and Republicans are okay with that happening. Now, as you just heard, these are just some of the many complaints Republicans have against Democrats and Democrats have against Republicans. And at the end of the day, because they're bickering, arguing, complaining, and screaming and yelling at one another, picking you're this, you're that, this is that, you're causing this, you're causing that. What's happening to the country? What's happening to its citizens? We are, in some way, shape, or form, getting screwed over because they don't want to negotiate and work together. They want to stay on their party's side, and they want their party to succeed and win this battle and war while we have to suffer. There's federal employees who lost their job or got furloughed or aren't getting paid and still have to work. There's people that need certain benefits like SNAP that might not get paid to them because the government is not funding SNAP because it's shut down. And there's certain other benefits or effects that this country's shutdown is causing them that they have to deal with because Republicans and Democrats refuse to go and work together. They want to stay on their lane, their side, and not work together. Now, the few gentlemen, 3 of them to be specific, John Fetterman, the senator from Pennsylvania, he's been criticized because he's acting too conservative. He's agreeing too much with Donald Trump, and he's starting to be a conservative more than an AOC, Bernie Sanders, Chuck Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries, which the Democrats want him to be and thought that he was going to be, and he's not being that. They're ticked off at him. The same way that he's acting too Republican for the Democrats, Rand Paul, the senator, and Thomas Massie, the congressman, have been criticized by Donald Trump because they're too libertarian or they're too outspoken against the Republicans, against the Republican Party and the direction the party's trying to go. And Donald Trump wants to take it. And he claims that he fought for these. He donated, campaigned to help them. And this is the thanks that they're giving him by the way that they're voting, acting, and talking. So these 3 gentlemen have been criticized to the point where their party leadership said that we're going to find primary candidates and get rid of you because you're too conservative or too not conservative. And that is some of the problems that we have in Washington, that these 3 gentlemen are doing the best they can to try to end this charade, to end the government being shut down, and to stop these 2 political parties from controlling everything, having a say in everything, and acting the way that they're acting and getting nothing done that affects us. They're getting criticized, belittled, and berated by their party leadership. And they could possibly lose their job, where everybody else in Washington is okay with what's going on because they are showing that they care more about their party and their political career than us as Americans. Their political party means more to them than us. And they can get away with it because there's nobody in Washington to criticize them. There's only Republicans and Democrats. They can scream and yell and do whatever they want because at the end of the day, they still get their paychecks, they still get all their benefits, and nothing they do affects them the same way it affects us. And they also don't have anybody else in Washington that can criticize them. Because if you criticize them, if you're a Republican or Democrat, you could lose your job, you could get thrown out of office, or many different things can happen. Whereas if you look at all these other countries around the world, most other countries, and you can even look on Wikipedia that shows you this, have more than 2 political parties that control their government. They might have 3, 4, 5 different political parties. Now, most of these countries only have really 2 political parties that control most of the country, but they're smaller political parties. Like in America, we have the Libertarian Party, the Constitution Party, and the Green Party that are alternatives to the Republican and Democratic Party. And these other countries, they might only have 10, 12, 15, 20 of these alternative party members. But having some sort of number of alternative parties in their federal government, you have objective views that are not just 2 ideologies, and that's all you get. 2 ways of thinking, 2 ways of fixing something, and 2 ways of things getting done. And these 2 political parties can, at the end of the day, go up in their offices, laugh, chuckle, and drink all the champagne and caviar they want, watching the country crumble because they don't get affected by it, as I said earlier, and they actually work together. They actually are in cahoots together, and they don't care what happens to this country because they're togetherly working to destroy it because of this government shutdown being the perfect example on how both of these parties are not willing to work together. They're actually behind closed doors laughing at our expense with what's going on. But back to what I was saying, so because we don't have alternative parties in Washington, we don't have objective voices that can say this is wrong, we're going to do this, we're going to step up and do the right things without being scared or without caring what their party is going to say or what their leadership is going to say, because at the end of the day, their leadership is okay with what these alternative parties are doing because these alternative parties are ran by people like you and I, who are sick and tired of the Republican parties making all the decisions, making all the rules, and screwing us over, making us have to deal with all of the issues and problems that they created that we follow on a daily basis. Even in election cycles, all the rules, the laws, and the policies that we have to adhere to get on the ballot that's so egregious, so rigged, and so hard to match. At the end of the day, you do that, then they sue you off the ballot, because they don't want objective voices in Washington. These two parties don't want to lose their power and don't want to lose their hold on this country. That's why they won't allow Libertarians, Greens, Constitution Party members on the ballot or give them the same election chances that they have. They belittle, they berate, they criticize these alternative parties, and then at the end of the day, if there is election changes that affect alternative parties, both parties don't care. You don't see them screaming and yelling. The only time they care about political parties being hurt is when it's their party being hurt. Like they claim in Texas, the redistricting in Texas is hurting the Democratic Party and helping the Democratic Party lose members where the Republican Party gain members in Congress because of the census and the way the voting base is in these areas that they redistricted. In California, Proposition 50 passed, which redistricted the state to make it more harder for Republicans to win House seats for Washington. So both of these parties try to screw each other over, where at the end of the day, alternative parties getting screwed over is perfectly acceptable by both of these political parties. And they don't care, they don't yell because it affects them no way, shape, or form in a negative way, in a positive way. So when they go to Washington, they don't want to work together because they hate each other. And because they hate each other, and we're not like these other countries with multiple political parties that can change the course of politics in this country, that can have a voice for the American people, that are average Joe Americans who want to do good, want to change this country, and want to fight for you and I, like I tried to do when I ran for Congress in 24 and couldn't get on the ballot because the hellacious and disgusting election laws in Pennsylvania. I couldn't fight for my constituents who I would be representing in Washington because I know what the pains and problems that these people have to deal with in my county, but I couldn't get that opportunity because I wasn't allowed on the ballot. So because of that, we are stuck in the situation as Americans that we have right now where nothing's getting done, nothing positive is helping us, and we're getting screwed over at the end of the day, and we have to suck it up and deal with it because we are stuck in the situation we're in because we don't want to do anything about fixing these election problems we have, electing alternative parties into Washington and making sure that the people that we keep on electing are actually going to do their job and stop electing the same people over and over and over again, thinking something different is going to happen. Until we get alternative parties in Washington, no type of Donald Trump or Gavin Newsom or Kamala Harris or J.D. Vance being our president is ever going to fix anything in this country.